N. Prasanna, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this session, we will discuss about serial data transfer schemes, asynchronous and synchronous data transfer schemes. That means generally the data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver in different forms. So the communication in between this transmitter and receiver may be either in the serial manner or parallel manner. And again, if it is in the serial manner, again it may be of asynchronous type or synchronous type. Now we will see all these details during communication. Now, before going to the types of communication and modes of communication, first we should know what is meant by communication. So here communication means interchange of information between sender and receiver. So generally we will talk the communication between peripheral devices and microprocessor. So in terms of this microprocessor and peripheral devices, so the communication is a common method of transmitting data between computer and peripheral devices. So transmitting the data between sender and receiver is called as communication. Now, so here generally there are two types of communication, serial communication and parallel communication. So generally the communication between peripheral devices and microprocessor will be in one manner, but before the data is transmitted from the peripheral devices to the microprocessor, that data should be converted into serial to parallel and parallel to serial. Because here peripheral devices, that is we can also call as IO devices, that devices will be dealing with analog data. That means it is going to generate the analog signal as the output and it is going to take analog signal as a input. But whereas here, if we talk about CPU, that is microprocessor will take the parallel data only. Now, in order to communicate this CPU, that is microprocessor and peripheral devices, it is very important to convert the serial data into parallel data. Then it should be given to the microprocessor. The microprocessor will perform some operations on that data and the microprocessor will give again the same parallel data as the output. Before sending that output data into the peripheral devices, it should be converted into analog signal, that is serial data. Now, that is why here we need to discuss about serial communication and parallel communication. So here in the serial communication, the data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver in the serial manner. Here data represents binary value. So whatever the data we have to transmit, that will be converted into binary value. So that binary data should be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver. So if it is a serial communication, using a single line, the binary data will be transmitted. So here the binary data will be transmitted bit by bit. First, the LSB bit will be sent from transmitter to the receiver. Next, the next LSB bit will be sent. Like that, bit by bit will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver. The last bit that will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver will be the MSB bit. Since here only single wire is there, bit by bit transmission is only possible. We cannot send all the bits at a time from transmitter to the receiver. Now, so in the serial communication, we have to consider here the clock signal. So clock signal is very important in order to achieve the synchronization between this transmitter and receiver. Now, coming to the parallel communication, here data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver in the parallel way. So here it consists of number of lines. So using these number of lines, the complete data which is present at the transmitter will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver at a time. So each line will be carrying one bit. If there are n number of bits, n number of lines will be available. Here, along with this binary data, the clock signal should also be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver. So with the help of this clock signal, the data will be transmitted properly without having any errors. This is the main difference between serial communication and parallel communication. Now, so coming to the differences between the serial communication and parallel communication. Here, in the serial communication, the transmitter sends data bit by bit at one clock pulse because we have only single wire. Whereas in the parallel communication, transfers a bulk of data at a time. That means here n number of wires are available. So using n number of wires, the bulk of data from transmitter to receiver will be transmitted at a time. And in the serial communication, it requires only one wire to transmit the data because here in this case data will be transmitted bit by bit. So it requires only one wire. So first LSB bit will be sent and the last MSB bit will be transmitted using the same wire. In the parallel communication, it requires n number of lines for transmitting n bits. So here, parallel communication means a bulk of data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver at a time. So in order to transmit bulk of data, transmitter should have n number of wires. Now, so coming to the serial communication, so communication speed is slow. Here the communication speed is slow because only one wire is there. So only one bit will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver. So that is why here communication speed will be slow because data should be transmitted bit by bit. In case of parallel communication, communication speed is fast. Why? Because it consists of n number of lines. So it is possible to transmit bulk of data at a time. So that is why the communication speed will be fast in this parallel communication. And so in the serial communication, installation cost is low. Why? Because only less number of components will be used in that. And in the parallel communication, installation cost is high because here we have to use n number of lines. Because of that, complexity will be increased. In the serial communication, this type of serial communication will be preferred for long distance communication. So if you are going to transmit the data from transmitter to the receiver, and if it is a long distance communication, then only this serial communication will be preferred. And coming to the parallel communication, generally parallel communication is preferred when the communication between transmitter and receiver is having very short distance. Now, so for example, long distance communication is supported by serial communication. So the communication between computer to computer can be done by using this serial communication. And the parallel communication means communication between the devices like computer to multifunction printer. So the communication between these two devices, generally parallel communication is preferred. So these are the main differences between serial communication and parallel communication. Now here, generally serial communication is preferred. So here we have to know serial data transmission modes. Now, so out of the serial communication and parallel communication, generally serial communication is most widely used approach during communication process. So to transfer the information between data processing equipment and peripherals, serial communication is preferred. Now, so serial communication can be done in many forms depending on the type of transmission mode and data transfer. So based on this different types of transmission modes and data transfer, this serial communication can be done in many forms. Like here we can see different transmission modes. So one of the transmission mode is simplex and another one is half duplex and next one is full duplex. So these are different transmission modes of serial communication. Now we will discuss about these three transmission modes in detail. Now, so coming to the three serial data transmission modes. So this can be considered as a network. So the communication here is happening between the computer and computers. And so in this case, if we talk about this simplex communication, in this simplex communication, so here we will have sender and this is the receiver. So simplex communication is called one-way communication. Why? Because here always in this simplex type, only the sender will send the information to the receiver and the receiver only receives it. The receiver cannot send the information to the sender. So that is why here it is called simplex communication. So it is always one-way communication. So one-way means only the information will be from sender to the receiver every time. And next type of transmission mode is half duplex transmission. And so in the half duplex transmission, it is called two-way communication. Here, this half duplex is called two-way communication. So this simplex is called one-way communication. Okay. So here two-way communication means the communication will be performed between sender and receiver. That means the sender can send the information to the receiver and receiver can also send information to the sender, but not at a time. So two-way communication will be performed, but not at a time. Coming to the next transmission mode, full duplex. So this full duplex communication means this is also two-way communication. This is called two-way communication. So the data transmission will happen between sender and receiver at a time. So the sender can send the information to the receiver and parallelly the information can be sent from receiver to the sender. So here the communication can be performed at a time. Both sender and receiver can share the information at a time. But here in the half duplex communication, though it is two-way communication, not at a time. So the data can be sent from sender to the receiver. After the receiver receives it only, the receiver will send the information to the sender. So these are the three types of transmission modes, serial data transmission modes. And so coming to the detailed discussion about this simplex method. So this is a simple connection. Data is transmitted only in one direction. That means every time the data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver only. That is sender to the receiver only. So example for simplex method we can consider as a printer. Why? Because every time the computer will give a command to the printer and the printer is going to give the output. But here printer cannot send any command to the computer. So that is why this is called simplex method communication. So the communication between computer and printer, whatever the communication is happening, it comes under simplex method. And next type of transmission mode is half duplex. So here in this half duplex connection, this type of transmission mode, that is half duplex communication mode, can also be called as two-way transfer communication. That means here transfer of data can be performed in two ways. That is from sender to the transmitter, sender to the receiver, and also from receiver to the sender. But the information will not be transmitted at a time. It will happen only in one direction. Either it may be from sender to the receiver, or it may be from receiver to the sender. And so here the example for this half duplex transmission mode is internet. So for example, if we consider this internet, we will see how it comes under this half duplex transmission mode. Why? Because if the client sends a request to the web page, the web server processes that application and sends back again the information. So that is why it comes under half duplex mode. And next transmission mode is full duplex mode. So this full duplex mode is widely used in the communication. Here both sender and receiver can transmit data at a time. So the sender will be keep on sending the data to the transmitter, receiver, and the receiver will keep on sending data to the sender. So example for full duplex transmission mode is smartphone. So these are the three important serial data transmission modes. So among these three, full duplex is more advanced. And so here during communication, here mainly we have to discuss about one important terminology which is called clock, and why this clock is required. So this entire concept comes under this clock synchronization. So for efficient working of serial devices, the clock is the primary source. For example, if the clock is not working properly, then that communication will lead to unexpected results. That is, it will be having some errors. Now, so for each serial device, the clock signal will be different, and it is categorized as synchronous protocol and asynchronous protocol. So based on the clock signal, it is classified as synchronous and asynchronous. And now we will see about that synchronous and asynchronous communication. So serial data transfer schemes. Here there are two ways to synchronize the two ends of communication. So what are the two ways here means? One is synchronous data transmission, another one is asynchronous data transmission. So now we will see what is the difference between this synchronous data transmission and asynchronous data transmission. So first we will see about synchronous data transmission. So in this type of communication, data is sent in the form of blocks or frames. So in the synchronous transmission, data will be transmitted in the form of blocks. So just we have seen different transmission modes, that is simplex, half duplex and full duplex. But here in this synchronous data transmission, it supports full duplex transmission mode. Now, so generally, while the sender and receiver is communicating with each other, we should have synchronization between that sender and receiver. So in synchronous transmission, there will not be any gap present between the data. Because there will not be any gap present between the data means, here generally the data will be sent in the form of blocks or frames. There will not be any gaps present between the data. Now here compared to this asynchronous data transmission, this synchronous data transmission is more efficient, because using this synchronous data transmission, large amount of data can be transmitted. But whereas here asynchronous data transmission, it is not very efficient because compared to this synchronous data transmission. Now, here the sender is here and receiver is there. So data will be transmitted in the form of blocks or frames. So here we will consider this as one block, and here this is another block. Like this, data will be transmitted in the form of blocks or frames. So here data represents all the binary values. So since here it is transmitting in the form of blocks or frames, here you can observe there will not be any gap present between the data. So no gaps means only data is transmitted. Here we are not including any start bit or stop bit. So this is what about synchronous transmission. And so in this synchronous transmission, generally, so it is called synchronous. Why? Because it is having an external clock. So let us consider here this is an external clock, and here this is the data which should be transmitted from sender to the receiver. So if you are transmitting the data from sender to the receiver by using synchronous data transmission, we have to consider the clock signal. And to this clock signal, this part is called falling edge of the clock, and this part is called rising edge of the clock. Because based on this falling edge and rising edge only, the transmitter and receiver will be operating. So here, during the falling edge of the clock, the transmitter will send the bit. So this is the transmitter sending the bit. Here the bit is 0. So if you consider here, this is the clock signal. During falling edge of the clock, the transmitter will send the data. During rising edge of the clock, the receiver is going to receive the same data. And so in this case also, this edge is called falling edge of the clock, and this is called the rising edge of the clock. So during falling edge of the clock, here the data is 1. So it is considered as a positive cycle. So during falling edge of the clock, the transmitter will send the data. But whereas the rising edge of the clock, the receiver is going to receive that data. Okay. So this is the importance of using this clock signal during synchronous data transmission. So in this synchronous data transmission, the clock signal will be considered as a external signal. And so many synchronous protocols will send the most significant bit first. Now, so here in this synchronous data transmission, we will have some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages of this synchronous data transmission is data speed is much higher because no extra bits are added at the end of the data during transmitting end or receiving end. Why? Because in this synchronous data transmission type, the data is transmitted in the form of blocks or frames. That is why data speed will be fast. So since the data is transmitted in the form of blocks or frames, no extra bits will be included at the transmitter end or receiver end. So this is the main advantage. And another advantage is timing errors are reduced due to synchronization, because here we are using the external clock signal. Because of that, here we are not including any start bit or stop bits. And here external clock is also used. So that is why timing errors will be reduced. And so this synchronous data transmission will be more useful for high speed application. So all these are the advantages of synchronous data transmission. And coming to the disadvantages of this synchronous data transmission, here timing is responsible for the accuracy of data. Here timing is responsible means in order to have synchronization or accuracy of data is more efficient output, we need to maintain timing with the help of the clock signal. And it is required that transmitter and receiver should be properly synchronized. That means here clock signal should be compulsory used in order to synchronize the transmitter and receiver. So these are some of the advantages and disadvantages of synchronous data transmission. And coming to the next data transmission, serial data transmission, that is asynchronous data transmission. So asynchronous means here there will not be any synchronization between sender and receiver will be done, but without using clock signal. Then how the synchronization will be done means with the help of extra bits adding to the original data. So that extra bits are called start bits and stop bits. And so here in asynchronous transmission, data is sent in the form of byte or character. But whereas in the synchronous, it is sent in the form of blocks or frames. And so previously we have seen the synchronous transmission supports full duplex communication. But whereas here the asynchronous data transmission supports half duplex transmission type. So here in this type, the start bit and start bits will be added along with the original data. So it does not require any synchronization. So that is why here we are not going to use external clock signal for transmitting the data. And now here we have seen that the data will be transmitted in the form of a byte or character. Now here this is the data, and to this data these are the two extra bits that are added. Here the two extra bits are called start bit. One is called start bit, another one is called stop bit. So in this case the data will be transmitted in the form of byte or character along with this original data which we are calling as byte or character. To this the extra bits like start bits and stop bits are added. So generally here the start bit will be indicated with 0 and the stop bit will be indicated with 1. Now, so in this asynchronous data transmission, here we cannot have clock signal. So previously in the synchronous data transmission, we have seen the external clock available. So based on the rising edge and falling edge of this clock signal, the data will be transmitted from sender to the receiver. But here in the asynchronous transmission, we will not have any external clock signal. But using the internal clock signal, the data will be transmitted from transmitter to the receiver. So that is why here the two extra bits, that is start bit and stop bit, will be added during communication. So here if you consider this is the data that is transmitting. So here along with the data, that is 61H, so this is 61H. So it is transmitted in the form of byte or character. So this is the byte here, that is from bit 0 to bit 7. So along with this byte, here the two extra bits will be added. So here the two extra bits are stop bit and start bit. And so here this is the data. We are going to send the data 61H. We will not have here external clock signal. By using the internal clock signal, transmitter uses the internal clock when to determine and when to send each bit. So based on the internal clock signal, it will be deciding when to send the data. And so here receiver detects the falling edge of the start bit and then uses its internal clock to read the bits that has been received. And coming to the advantages and disadvantages of this asynchronous data transmission. So here advantages are the synchronization between devices is not necessary. That is why here, because the external clock signal is not used, so synchronization between devices is not necessary. And so it is a low cost scheme. And some of the disadvantages are low transmission due to the use of start bit and stop bits and gap between the data. And in this case, timing errors will take place. So what is the purpose of this timing errors means? Here we are not using any external clock signal. But here the data is transmitted to the receiver by including this start bit and stop bit to the original data. So that is why there is a chance of having the timing errors. And so those are some of the advantages and disadvantages of asynchronous data transmission. Now, coming to the differences between synchronous transmission and asynchronous transmission. Here, in the synchronous transmission, just we have discussed, data is sent in the form of blocks or frames. Whereas in the asynchronous transmission, data is sent in the form of byte or character. And synchronous transmission is fast. Why? Because here it is having external clock signal. And asynchronous transmission is slow because we need to have start bit and stop bit included, and here external clock signal is also not available. And synchronous transmission is costly, and in this case asynchronous transmission is economical. In the synchronous transmission, time interval of transmission is constant. So that is why we are going to take the external clock signal. In the asynchronous transmission, time interval of transmission is not constant. It will be random because here internal clock signal is used. And in synchronous transmission, there is no gap present between the data. Gap will not be there. Why? Because it is sent in the form of blocks or frames. But here in the asynchronous transmission, there will be gap present between the data. So here, gap present between the data means to the original data, we are going to include the start bit and stop bit. So that is what about synchronous and asynchronous data transmission. Now, coming to the basic terminologies that we are going to use in this communication. First one is bitrate. So what is meant by bitrate means, bitrate represents how many data bits are transmitted per second. Or we can also say here bitrate measures the number of data bits transmitted in 1 second in a communication channel. So here data bits represents zeros and ones. That means how many number of zeros and ones are transmitted, says the bitrate. So for example, if you say that the bitrate is 2400, so what it represents here? So 2400 zeros or ones are transmitted per second. That is why here the units for this bitrate is bits per second. Now, another basic terminology is baud rate. So here what is meant by baud rate means, baud rate is the measurement of number of times per second a signal in the communication channel changes. So for example, if you take 2400, the same figure, that means if we consider baud rate as 2000, it represents in the channel, the zeros and ones have been changed 2400 times per second. So the baud rate means the number of times a signal in the communication channel changes the state. Now, so here what is meant by changing the state means the value, the data changing from 0 to 1 or from 1 to 0 is called change state. So for example, if you consider the baud rate as 2400, 2400 times these zeros and ones will be changing their state. And next important terminology is modem. So here modem represents modulator and demodulator. So here what is the main function of this modem means? So this modem is a hardware component that allows a computer or another device such as router or switch to connect to the internet. So this is the main component that will connect a computer to the internet router. Now, so what this modem is going to do means, first it converts. So modulate means it converts an analog signal from a telephone or cable wire to digital data. Similarly, the same modem can also convert digital data that we have taken from a computer into analog data. And then it is going to send over the telephone lines. Because here, generally, in which case the modem will be used means, modem can be used between a computer and a communication channel. So here the communication channel will be every time dealing with the analog signals, whereas here the computer will be dealing with a digital data. So in order to send information from computer to the communication channel, it should be converted from parallel data to serial data. Okay. So in such cases, for that type of conversion, we need to have here modem. So we can observe this figure here. In between this computer and a communication network, the modem is used. Again, the modem is used in between this communication network and computer. Why? Because here the computer will be producing the digital data, whereas here the communication will be mainly taking the analog signal as input and it produces analog signal as the output. And this is the modem that converts this digital data to analog signal. And this analog signal will be transmitted through this communication network. And before going to give it to the computer will take only the digital data. So before this analog signal giving to the computer, it should be converted into digital. That is, it has to be converted from analog signal to the digital signal. So this is the modem that will do this conversion. And this is the main purpose of using the modem between computer and communication network. So these are the important terminologies that comes under the communication. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.